during these days, who were Freudians and who thought all mysticism was merely repressed libido, overnight had to change. They had to change their position. It changed overnight. Suddenly now you could talk about it, it became more available. The split was still there, but it wasn't in the same numbers. Therefore, it changed the world. It changed San Francisco. The whole intellectual world changed. At that same time, of course, Doors of Perception.
Addison.
Who?
Huxley.
Huxley, right. Huxley came out with that with peyote. Peyote, therefore, was available in San Francisco at that time for $3.50. You could get a whole box, a shoebox full of peyote buttons. Yeah, legitimately, there was no law against it. You could send away to the farmers, you could send away to El Paso and get a whole box of them for $3.50. And it was perfectly legal, and people therefore were participating in that at the same time, and that broke through. And that's when people like Gary Schneider and people like that were involved in it. And it changed everything. And I think therefore this is where it's going to go. I think it's going to go here. I think we have the people and the talent. This is where it's going to go. It's going to change things. Thank you. Throw it open.
But people are getting, it seems to me that people are getting more and more into beliefs. The fundamentalists, they say all you have to do is believe that you're saved, and people are buying into that. And don't.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
They seem to be growing.
Oh sure. But if this works for a small percentage of people, they need it. Yeah, this is only open to a small group of people who want to go through it. I think it's inevitable. I think that's where our culture is going to go. I think it's only going to address the needs of a small number of people. Yes, people are on the other side, there are many people going back to fundamentalist beliefs. Yeah, that's all true. That's all true. That's all true. I think this will be our mysteries. Yeah.
How will it take shape? A theater form, or?
It may require a whole new scene. It may take one. I think has to design perhaps a whole new living room, as it were. One has to bring to it all the greatest art objects or things of that nature into the environment. Have to be around things that are beautiful, anything that could enhance it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where it's going.
But it's in the realm of the arts and philosophy.
Well,
at least that's what I'm getting.
Well, you see, the thought might be, well then, all right, people will then be addicted to this. Maybe they'll be attached to it. Okay, that's going to be another problem. But once it is seen that the mind is what it is that sees, a good number of those people are going to explore philosophy. Inevitably. And if it's presented within that kind of a background, if that comes along with it, because the allegory of the cave in the upper world is Platonic, they're going to have to try to understand what that means, and that's opening up to Plato's Republic. I think on the same way, by the way, I think Christians might do the same thing with the Stations of the Cross, or they may use it for that purpose. I think there's going to be a competition between different systems vis-a-vis multimedia and virtual reality. Tibetan Book of the Dead, cast in the same way, it's going to be the same thing. But I think what's going to be astonishingly different is that I think this is going to open up for our culture Plato. Why? Because if you're going to use your mind and you see that this is possible and you can participate more fully, those are the conditions you need to become a Platonist. If that becomes part and parcel of your experience, then there may be a gateway to it through this. I don't know whether I'd be sitting in the first row, though. But I think this will take place. That is to say, I don't think I'll be part of it, but I think this is where it's going.
Yeah. Well, now Plato says everything is one, everything is good. But then you say it's the idea of good, but it's still an idea.
That's,
it goes beyond that.
yeah, okay. Now, it's difficult to hold on to this curious notion, but when he talks about the idea of the good, it's with a capital I. The difficulty is that that's a Greek word, idea. It's not translated when you use the word idea. An idea is not a thought. It's not a concept. All right? An idea of necessity, all right? Well, there are two ways to deal with it. Let me deal with it the first way. The idea of the good idea is literally to behold. To behold the good. And that's why it takes on the form of the most brilliant light of being. To behold the good, that's not the good, that's beholding the good, and that's the experience of it. Another use of the word idea in Platonic thought is, which makes it totally different from an idea, all right, let's say, if there is such a thing as man, must there not be some cause of man? Now, what marks the Greek notion of the idea of man is that this is an archetype. All right, that archetype, therefore, is generative. It is what is responsible for the diversity that you find among mankind. Right? Therefore, it's a generative, it has generative power. It is itself an ideal. Right? All of the variations and potentialities that emerge from man's existence can be traced back to this one ideal. So it's an ideal, it's a pure form, it contains within itself that full range of all the manifestations and potentialities that one discovers in mankind. It is both the beginning and end of man, right? The full range of its potential. The whole destiny of man is tied up in this just one notion, which some people call an archetype. That's the idea of man. So that's not just a concept. A concept is that if you see three things and you can find something similar among them, that's a concept of it. Right.
I still see archetype as a concept.
Okay, so would you not agree a concept is not generative? If I have the idea of a chair, or a concept of a chair by looking at this row of chairs, the concept I have wasn't the cause of these. Archetype it is.
I see, okay.
Generative, see, it's the cause of it.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a difference between concept and archetype or idea.
So if you see these chairs and you'd have an idea,
Concept.
you had the concept, and you'd be thinking of all chairs according to they would look like
Yeah.
these.
But one would never say with a concept that that's the cause of the many different kinds of chairs there are. Would one?
No, but you
No,
might,
that's right.
a carpenter might make a chair that would fit into this idea of a chair.
Yeah, okay. How about with man now? Can you move from chairs to man?